Hey, you guys, I'm Carolyn, and I want to tell you how I changed my mindset from having a lack mindset to an abundance mindset. I transformed my mindset completely, a complete 180, because I was raised to believe that I couldn't provide for myself, like, meaning I had to depend on someone else to pay me and take care of me. I was raised to believe that I needed a job. I needed to go to work and work for somebody and then not even aim high, not even ask for a lot of money. So it wasn't like, well, I went to school and I was taught to go work to be a manager at Google. No, no. The every message I got told me to get a job and survive, meaning money that you just barely could live on. After I graduated, I had to get a second job. I want to tell you that if you go to college, I don't care what your major is. If you go to college, you can and graduate, you can walk into a six-figure job, honey. Yes, you can. Yes, you can, because you have what it takes. They have educated you. If you're like, well, I don't have the experience, those internships, every major that I know makes sure that you do some form of an internship. And if you smart and have smart friends, they telling you to look for the paid internships on LinkedIn and places like that because you're doing work. You need to be getting paid for it. But nevertheless, if you get a college education, you can walk into making six figures, but that's not what they told me. I was told to start from the bottom. And honestly, I wasn't told a lot. I had to figure it out. But definitely the major I was in, I went into a business major that was travel and tourism. Travel and tourism is a $1 billion industry. Did anybody tell me how to tap into those billions? No, they did not. They just told me to start from the bottom. Okay. And unfortunately, when you start from the bottom and you don't know what direction to go, you stay at the bottom. All right. But honestly, that was my mindset, thinking that I didn't have what it take to make a six-figure job. I had to stay where I was at because I didn't have any other skills. I mean, I'm looking, if you're watching my videos, you see my degree in the background. Okay. And I even after years after I got my 10 years after I got my college degree, I went on to get a master's degree, but dealt with such heavy imposter syndrome because of all the message I received from family and friends, because everything I did was looked at as a failure. So I'm thinking that I'm a failure and people are going to judge me if I fail again. This has to work. This is what I was thinking. This has to work. This has to work. Because if this doesn't work, then everybody's going to come down on me. And then, I'm going to be I'm going to be ostracized. Okay. Then there was a point in my early 40s when I was like, why am I not rich yet? Because that's what they taught me when I was a kid. If you get your education and work hard, you could get rich. That was the message. I was like 42. Why am I not rich? I lived in a nice place. I lived in a nice area. You know what I mean? I was doing okay. But I sure was far from rich, okay? So I'm like, why am I not rich? And that's when I really started to examine everything, all the messages that was told to me. So unfortunately, my mother had gotten sick and she was in the hospital. And dealing with that, I drove around in the car and started listening to the audiobook, You Are a Badass at Making Money. And it wasn't even so that I was on a mission to make a bunch of money. It was like I knew something needed to change. I knew something needed to change. I'm working entry-level jobs, even though I worked for great companies. I have worked for some serious companies in my day, but they were all entry level. The money was good, but it was entry, and I wasn't tapping into my talents. And what I wanted to do was more in the psychology, human behavior field. But because I had so many negative messages, I didn't think it was possible. But I listened to that audiobook on repeat, And I went to YouTube and listened to You Are a Badass on repeat. I mean, so much so that if I heard them right now, I'd be like, oh God, I can't listen anymore, because I listened to her books on repeat. It was my start. It was my start because I knew it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I did everything I was told to do. So I went on, listened to those books, and things slowly start. It didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight, but things did slowly start to change. So I went ahead and started listening to other books. I mean, I was learning. It was like I was getting another master's degree. Now I have like 700 books in my house, and we're not even going to include in the library books that I get, because they have to go back. But the benefit of living in my city is you could just walk around and they'll have what's called little libraries, and you can get free books, no problem. So I have so many books, or our libraries have what's called bag sales. So you could get 30 books for $1 or $2 anywhere. But anyway, then I went on. Now, this was a message that was given to me by one of the motivational speakers that I saw on YouTube. He was like, if you want to change your mindset, if you want to succeed, follow the people who have succeeded. And the big phrase is success leaves clues. So I went on and I started watching. I loved documentaries when I was a kid. Loved them. But I really started watching them from a different context, right? So I'm watching them, and it was more than just a good story, because now I'm an adult and I done lived through some of these things that these people have gone through. I've lived through the rejection. I've lived through, the pain of the opinions of other people. I have lived through, you know what I mean? Like, I have lived through these things now, so I can relate now. So I'm watching the documentaries and I'm like, you've done that. This is what people were saying was a failure, and you've done just that. What books and movies and motivational speakers and psychologists and sociologists, what they did for me, people like Malcolm Gladwell and people of the like, what they did for me is that they gave back to me my pride and my dignity of the things that I have achieved. I relocated to not another city, an entire state. I relocated to a different state alone, not a state. I'm in New York State. I didn't move to Ohio, the state next door. I didn't move to Pennsylvania, the state below me. I moved to North Carolina. I'm in a blue state. That's a red state. It was like moving to a different country. And I learned how to adapt to the cultures and the people there to live and thrive. I got my own apartment. I got my own jobs. When the job didn't work out, I went and got another job. I networked with people. And the people that was criticizing me, they can't even live alone. I don't know what it's like to live with somebody. I'm the queen of living alone. They can't even go to the movies alone. They can't go to the club alone. They can't do anything alone. And I'm out here doing it. What it allowed me to do was to really take inventory of all the things that I did and realize my gifts and talents. The majority of the people that criticize me, they didn't do a tenth of the things that I did. They didn't go off and explore the world after college. They hurried up and hooked up with somebody so they didn't have to deal with the world. They didn't leave one job when somebody was foolish. They stayed in their little job and watch the business get bought and sold and then hid under the freaking bed. I'm out here like, fuck that. Excuse my language. My company went bankrupt. There might have not been a job in the morning. I said, you know what? We not living through no bankruptcy. You having an uncertain future. If you don't know what's going to do, take charge of it. If you got to gamble, let it gamble in your favor. Gamble on yourself. And that's when I relocated. That's when I left. I'm in charge of my life. I pick and choose what it is I want to do. A lot of people don't do that. Well, a lot of people I was around didn't take risks. They didn't take risks. To me, I didn't even look at them as risks. I looked at them as the obvious choice. Like, well, then I don't have no choice. I gotta go. But it was obvious to me because I had a growth mindset. But when you are around people who don't share your same mindset, they will try to convince you that what you have going on is a flaw. But the reality is, they don't have the courage to change. They know it's a problem. They know it's not working out. They know they're unhappy. I was unhappy and was like, I'm unhappy. It's time. This ain't working out. It's time to go, right? Nope. If I wear a size 10. Once upon a time, I wore a size 9 shoe. If I cram my foot into my maybe size 10s into that size 9, I could barely walk. If I was to walk, I'd be in pain. What I'm supposed to do? I'm in my late 40s. What I'm supposed to do? Walk around the next 30, 40 years in some too tight shoes, in pain, trying to fake like I'm not? I ain't doing that. I'll go barefoot before I do that. But that's what people do. That's what people do. And because that's what they choose to do, they brainwashed me into thinking that I was subpar because these were people that I trusted and loved. And I thought I was subpar when the truth was they the ones running around in the size 9. They were average people, mediocre, like if they average people. They wasn't doing anything that was groundbreaking. They wasn't doing anything. And you have to see people in that light. You have to see people as your equal. Don't put anybody on no pedestal like they above you. They not. They just doing things different from you. That's it. So because I went on and I surrounded myself with positive messages, all the books, all the movies, all the speakers, I have learned so much in these few years. I would have never made this video a year or two ago. Never. I would have never got on here making a video like this, ever. I'm on all platforms now of social media making videos. I would have never done that before. Never. Boasting about myself, telling you what I'm doing and how I'm going to make this money. And no. I'd have showed you how to update your resume. I'd have showed you how to update your resume and cover letter and hurry up and put out in that job application who gonna hire you right quick so you can have some. It was a different ball of wax just a couple of years ago. And I am here to tell you that if you feel stuck, if you feel unfulfilled, if you are unhappy, I am the proof that you can change. And honey, don't let me get rich. Don't let me get rich. Oh, I'm on everybody's stage. I'm on everybody's stage because I promise you, people had me hating myself like it was their job. You hear me? They had me hating myself like they were supposed to do it. Like God put them on this earth to make me hate myself like it was their duty. And my poor innocent brain just absorbed it all that is nonsense. So I just want to make sure that you had this information and you had this encouragement to go out into this world, take risks, and make it happen for yourself, because you totally can. Until next time, be good.